Sorry I'm getting a late start. I was on the phone, so I'm on the way home right now. Friday night traffic. And sorry I ain't got no music for you guys. But yeah, a lot to talk about. A new version of Ubuntu. I gotta tell you, I got so much to do. I'm not looking forward to updating it, but it's a good thing about Linux, right? A lot happening in the world. I don't remember if I told you that my friend Richie sent me the divorce papers from my wife in Germany. I'm officially divorced. Oh, I'm so happy to close that part as I go into this other part of government bureaucracy. So that's awesome news. That was always for 17 years. I couldn't apply for my wife a visa or anything. I didn't know what to do until I found out that the embassy will recognize a foreign divorce decree. So that brings a huge load off of my chest. The other remaining challenge, of course, to getting my wife to be allowed to go to the US is the affidavit of support. Now, I don't know if the government will show leniency or not. I've got to apply for this thing called an I-130 and prove that we're married and it's not a joke. And then the next stop, the next interview is where we do with the affidavit stuff. I'm scared about it. And yeah, I am scared. I've asked my boss, who hasn't replied last night, but I'm going to get a copy of my income taxes paid in China and file my back taxes and get that going. But I could do that after. I don't have to do that before the I-130, so I'm gonna, as soon as I could get 3,500 US or Chinese RMB, which is the fee. Oh, traffic is so bad tonight, even the tunnels are slower, huh? So as soon as I could get the money on payday, I'll pay for my children's new school computers, 7,200 yen, and then the remainder I'll apply for my wife's I-130. And yeah, there's a lot to talk about. We're going to talk about resources tonight. You know, that's a broad word. And human resources is another broad word. We're going to talk about those topics a little bit, but taxes are a big thing. You know, I only slept 3 hours last night because I was able to finally talk to Qaletaqa in the United States the first time. He is staying in Colorado with his foster family. Well, it's a nice guy that's running his house, and another guy, his partner, and hell of a nice guy. I'm so happy Qaletaqa was there. And I talked to this gentleman, and he seems really committed to the cause. You know, I see a lot of people that don't like kids, but they make money from kids, and I never thought that was right. Now, I know you can't pass judgment on everybody just from an hour Skype call but it's a start, you know. And I'm happy to finally talk to Qaletaqa. Qaletaqa looks like Qaletaqa. Kind of breaks my heart. He looked like he's waking up and he doesn't really understand what he's doing, how he got himself there. And now he's there though. And I still have a lot of worries about it. You know, he's been there for more than a month and he hasn't been in school yet. And they got a lot of people on their team, like 5 people on the team that I know at least, and so it's a big team, and they got a lot of resources to help, but I'm a little bit concerned because he said that he wanted to teach Qaletaqa life skills and stuff, and he doesn't want Qaletaqa to go out there and expect him to go out and start building rockets. And that's cool, I can appreciate that, but I do expect Qaletaqa to build rockets. So I hope that they can get Qaletaqa, because he's almost 16. I hope that they care about his skill level. And yeah, it's a beginning, and it's tough. America doesn't have well, they don't use their resources for children like other countries, but they're doing better than China. And the people I know, I haven't met their team there. I've only met one man, and I can tell you the consulate embassy team here in the State Department, they're awesome, man. They went above and beyond. They should have some recognition. All the people on their team, I don't know if that's the same. Seemed the guy that I met was a nice guy. So far, my direct experience with people in this department has so far, they've been really, really caring and surprising. So that's the big thing. I still got to talk to Qaletaqa, get Bobby a chance to talk to him and stuff, but that's good. He could be in a lot worse situation right now, and I'm happy he's okay, and the fight continues, right? The road of fate, right? Strange fate indeed, right? I would have never imagined fighting for him for so many years that he'd be in this situation. He's out of sight, but he's not out of sound, you know what I mean? I still got him very close to my heart. So, just to be clear about that. And so, you know, I think about returning. I can't wait to apply for jobs with SpaceX and Tesla and Solar City. There's some guy in the Tesla forum on Reddit telling me, oh yeah, you shouldn't apply for an assembly line position for Elon Musk. He treats the workers terrible, and it's a terrible job. And, you know, and that brings up a point for me. You know, I'm gonna apply for other many jobs. However, if it was an assembly line position, which should probably be less money than what I'm making right now, and of course going back to America, giving up all my students and my career here, you know, I learned something out of a lot of years of life. Maybe I learned it slower than other people. But what's up? Hey. I learned to be humble. And that wasn't an easy lesson for me. And I don't know, you know that quotation says, if you can't change history, be proud of it. So let's take a walk down memory lane. Take a walk down memory lane. One time when I was younger, and I went into the Air Force at one of the only acts of leadership from my dad. Okay, I gotta take my seat cover off my seat, man. It's not raining, right? But why don't we ditch the rain gear? Check and see if we're recording or not before I talk to myself. Okay, hey guys. A little bit dirty screen on. Alright, so you know, with these seats, these Brooks seats, you want to be careful with water, I guess. I don't know, mine has had water damage before. I don't know if it's more than, I guess, about 20,000 kilometers on this one, and like the rest of this stuff on the bike. Gotta keep that cover on it, even though it still gets wet sometimes. But now watch, as soon as I do this here, maybe I'll change my dry bag out on my phone too. I've got the Toe Peak dry bag, which shares the same rack as this Toe Peak phone condom thing, which you guys probably saw me buy 2 of, right? Because some of my kids destroyed. I wasn't very confident in the rubber, but it works. It's a silicone type. Oh, almost dropped my phone. Shit. It's a silicone type strap. It does the job, I guess. Using a Pixel, the XL. Holds it in there. Kind of got to squeeze the band around the camera if you're going to talk and ride. But now I could see my watch easier. I'm not in a race for speed like I am in the mornings. Yeah, you guys see me on the morning ride. That's when I really go all out. The nighttime rides, I should be going all out, but I just worked all day. Don't go all out like I should. Sometimes when I get into shape, I'll start sprinting home and get that extra energy. But I haven't slept a lot this week, so don't expect random sprints right now. All right, man, we're all changed out. So memory lane, right? Ooh. So I went to the what do you call it? Well, I want to go over there, buddies. Shit. I'm stuck over here. Stuck in the middle with you. See, if I don't go over right now, I can't get over there. Shit. Alright, we gotta stop, huh? A lot of rides I go the whole way and I don't put my foot down, right? My other shoes are wet, so I'm wearing my XC90s. I just put some new SPDs on the bottom, the two-way releasable. And you know, I was a little bit worried because I haven't bought cleats in so long. So I was worried about which one, because they got 2 types of cleats. They got the cleats that only release from the rear, and the cleats that release the front and the rear. And I can't remember which ones I had. And I guess I had the ones that only release the rear, but I I was worried that they were going to come out too easily on the front, but they seem to be coming out. They seem to be fine. So these XC90s, they fit me they're better than my other shoes I have. Those new ones I bought, they're a size too big, which is not so bad when I'm walking around all day. They're great for walking. These are great for riding, man. They dry out faster. Got a little bit of water this morning, not too bad, but they're dry right now. They got lots of ventilation, whereas the other ones are heavy, kind of fox leather, fake leather, you know, and these are great shoes. I should probably adjust my cleats a little bit. I'll do that later. But there's enough float in there that it's all right, not too bad. My knees don't hurt. If your knees hurt, that's a good sign you got to adjust your cleats, right? So I'm wearing the blue XC90s right now. More efficient, supposedly. More energy out of each stroke. They're the firmest ones. I mean, aside from the cleats coming apart on the bottom, they're great shoes. I'd get them again if they weren't so expensive. They're awesome. So, being humble, right? So they got this thing in the Air Force where if you're gonna be a soldier, which I had no idea. You go down to do your testing first, and you could get a delayed enlistment program where they'll test you and they'll give you a job contract before you go in. And I tested and they gave me a job contract as a tactical crew chief. And I wasn't very humble. That wasn't good enough for me. I mean, if I would have took that job and done it and got the skill, I could definitely be applying for SpaceX right now as an engineer. If I would have got that training from the future, I can see that. Now, I didn't do that. So obviously that option, like choose your own adventure books, that option from my fate is lost in history. So then I went into combat control pararescue. The special forces stopped. And more than 2,000 people tried out for that. I got down to the last numbers of the selection school, getting ready to go to Florida for combat diving. And I was an idiot. Well, I don't know, man. I quit. But a lot of people quit because it's too hard. I was restless youth idiot. I went out and I drank too much. I saw the cadre come back, the trainers, tell a story about putting up a weather antenna, killing everybody in a village. And I thought, man, I don't want to be part of that. Although I really liked the exercise. I mean, it was awesome exercise. You would run and run, and then swim and swim, and then do lots of cool exercise. And like, man, it was fun, man. It was tiring and hard. It was tough training. I was in excellent shape. A lot of swimming, and I like to swim. And you know, I was in an apartment alone, and yeah, so I like the exercise. So they reclassified me to EOD. In EOD, I met a girl that was older than me and fell in love with this girl, and wasn't very humble. Cut a long story short, I had the choice in EOD, which is explosive ordnance disposal, and I had all that clearance stuff, or I could get out on a general discharge under honorable circumstances. So I got out, and you know, I had a hard time. I was autistic, and I think the basic of it was I was too restless and wasn't humble, and so fast forward in time, I got out and I went to Germany. Woo. Come back from Germany after being there for a while with the girlfriend, got married, went to TSTC Waco. I was so idealistic. I saw the Davidian compound there after they killed all those 78 people and they planted a tree for each one. Rode my bike out there, and that was really moving, and that made me so upset when I was younger. I thought it was so unjust. But I was in TSTC for computer networking administration when the internet was being born, and when the birth of HTML, and they didn't really have classes that taught HTML, and I thought it was exciting, and the birth of the internet. And I put up these advertisements to connect everybody to the school's internet. I printed them out and put my phone number on it, and people would call me up, and they never used the internet. They wouldn't have the internet on their computer, and it was Windows 3.1 and Trumpet Windsock. So I'd set their computers up so they could connect to the school's network. And random people's houses, show up at house parties, show up to individuals' homes. And I wasn't humble enough. I wanted to be larger than that. I kept doing that business. I went to computer repair shop and repaired computers. This is a long time ago. 1994, 1995, I guess. 1995 maybe, after coming back from Germany. And I thought I knew it all. I thought school was slowing me down. You know, the executive producer of the Ginny Jones show at the time, the parents, their doctor was a rich Irish anesthesiologist, and he had like a fucking castle outside of Waco. And it's unbelievable, this castle. Like, he brought all these old paintings from Ireland, and somehow they got my number. And she had a disabled brother, and I was teaching him how to make websites and stuff and use computers. And there was a lot of jobs back then, and I wasn't humble enough. That was a great open door. And I taught him, and I made some money, but I was too good just to work hard, put my nose to the grindstone, and be happy and just be slow and take it steady. I had to do more. Fought with my teacher that was written a book for Microsoft. I fought with him about using frames and code design, and back when HTML was there, and he said, no, you only use tables. I said, that's bullshit. And you don't know what you're talking about. And I was just really young and idealistic, and that wasn't right. I shouldn't have been like that. So I started working on the center of the net and developing a website, and I went to Janus Mutual Funds, and they had a job for web developer, and I parked in the garage, and I went upstairs with my computer out of the back of the car, and I took it up there to do a job interview. And you go up to their boardroom, and it was like Star Trek. They had these huge projectors on the wall, all high-tech and fancy. And they said they'd offer me a job around $80,000 a year. And I said, fuck you, I don't want your job. I just wanted to show you I could do it. I'll do it for myself. Which is the opposite of being humble. Like an idiot. And then I went to Germany. A fabulous place. Now I don't want to, well, let me tell you in Germany first, and I'll talk about the personal morality aspect of it. In Germany, it was a high unemployment rate after the wall came down, like 21%. It was really difficult. Jobs, I didn't even know what teaching English was when I was in Germany. The whole time, I didn't know that people went to countries like what I'm doing right now. I didn't even know that existed. So I studied, and I taught some of my friends about computers. My good friend Richard, who grew up to be very successful and creative, and I guess it changed his life, and he changed my life too. And I just learned how to write more HTML, I thought, and I self-studied design and Photoshop, and I got a license to be self-employed, and really, you know, I was starting out slowly. I was upset. I tried to get a loan from my dad. I tried to get a loan from people from the bank, so I could get a sign for my business. And I couldn't get that loan, and I felt like, oh, I want to grow faster. And I did the network in the town hall. I did a website for the oldest porcelain manufacturer. Step by step, I was doing some business, but it was not good enough for me. I wanted more. I just felt like I wanted to be Elon Musk. Before Elon Musk was like already making his millions of dollars or something, right? I wasn't humble. So I self-destructed. And you know what? That place, like that job, if I would have stayed at that job, Janus Mutual Funds, I would have at that time I would have been a millionaire. My life would be different, right? In Germany, in that little place that I lived, there's the nicest people in the world. I mean, it was absolute paradise. I had everything a man could want. I had a good wife. I had a dream. If I was a millionaire, I wouldn't buy a different home. living in the top of this old house on the market square. At the time, I didn't really feel poor, but I felt I wanted to do more, and I felt restless. But I didn't realize that people dream about retiring in a mountain village like that, and I had a great forest around me with tons of history and all the things that I'm really interested in. I didn't see the beauty. I did somewhat, and I love the people there all my heart. But I destroyed that. So then I went out and went back to the US, and wow, man, the job's changed. And Shinano Kenshi, Jim Michael, Shinano Kenshi owns Plexer. Shinano Kenshi is a big Japanese company, and I hired this guy named Jim Michaels, who was this fucking awesome engineer. He worked on a lot of high-tech stuff for the government, and he was so awesome, man. I mean, as far as experience goes, a nice guy. And I was coming back, I still was idealistic. I didn't straight go back. I went to Amsterdam for a couple days. I came back with nothing to the US. I got a job in the Universal Studios Halloween store. I was in bad shape. But I got hired at $38,000 a year to start, which is a lot worse than it was in 1995. But that was a good money job to get started. That kind of money, that's great. I had a roommate and everything. I was such culture shock. And Parker, the city that didn't even exist when I left the first time, it was all surreal, living in this house in a room, like in suburbia, after living in a mountain village, and we were opening I was the first person hired to do all the training, set the people up, and this guy, he was grooming me. I mean, he was building this multi-million-dollar house before we set up the office. He'd take him to his house while he's building the supplies, and his house was so high-tech with these new kinds of wood, artificial wood, heating systems. The engineering he put in his house was fucking amazing. But for me, I was going through culture shock still. I couldn't bear it. Even though I'd go hang out with him all day, and he was a hell of a nice guy, I was drinking too much, and I wasn't very humble. And they sent me out to San Jose to do training. And oh my God. Go out to San Jose, I met the guys that developed the Adaptec SCSI layer. And these guys are like legends for like fucking A. I've never seen a campus before. I've never seen Silicon Valley. I mean, come on. I already had a culture shock. Just putting me on a per diem and then taking out and paying for lobster and all this nice food and hotel and a hot tub in the hotel. And man, my head was spinning. And to go to this company and the way that they lived all laid back in San Jose, and the way that the troubleshooting for support with CD burners and stuff, for me it was so fucking easy. It was like, come on, man. Any kind of problem that the other people couldn't figure out, they'd give me the phone, and I like do it, and like, damn it, walk around the office and see all the other cool engineers and the engineers that came from Japan for Plextor. And Plextor for me, it was like, man, I sold those. I had a Plextor when they first made their DVD burners and their CD burners. That was cool shit. I was a fan before I even went in their company. So I couldn't believe I was working there. And then I met the web developer, and she was from Germany. Oh my God. So I could speak German with her, and I felt comfortable with her. And you know, I was destroyed from my divorce, and I was missing my wife, and I was homesick for Germany. It was really, really hard for me. And I wanted that job. And she said, sure, you can stay here and do web development with us, it's cool. And I asked my boss, and my boss is all, no, I want to keep you here in Denver and set this up for North America, I need you. And I was so fucking stupid. You know, at the time, I had a roommate, and I was drinking too much with her, and she was a nice friend. She was a girl, just a friend, and she became my girlfriend. Just roommates and then girlfriend, and she was a really nice girl, man, and I was just on the rebound, and I really wanted a friend, and she bought me a car and like a 300Z and a BMW motorcycle, and she had diabetes, and she was so kind. And I'm like, and her dad was kind, and eventually what I did is I told my boss, well, I quit, I want to do more. And then when I quit, I couldn't find any other jobs. It was really hard to find a job before 9/11 happened. And I told my girlfriend, look, you're so cool. I just, you know, I care about you, but I need to go for me to China. China. Here's your car. Here's your motorcycle. I'm sorry, I don't want to make you life bad. And that's what I was. Opportunity after opportunity. Now, strange, I mean, I've shook President Bush's hand. I've shook the hand of the person that dropped that atom bomb on Japan, the Telegram bomber. I've met terrible people and wonderful people. I don't know, man. I wasn't very humble. So, find myself in China. Woohoo! China was that challenge, man. Oh, it was a tough challenge. Going to the classrooms, first started teaching. I had no idea about teaching English. Here's a book. Here's a bucket of water. Trial by fire. And it was so challenging. I enjoyed that challenge. I overcame that. I met a girl and had a baby, forbidden birth. Boy, that was a challenge. Oh, I had to have that challenge. Overcome that adversity. Go to Nanning. Start teaching adults. Started to recognize patterns in preparation and teaching. Started to find databases to organize my teaching data. Started to do what I was hired to do for Plexter Corporation. Out of necessity, I was using these skills to go above and beyond. I mean, my teaching friend, I showed him the database I developed based on another platform with all the curriculum material for this elementary school. And like, shit was organized minute by minute, and I'm all, man, this is how you gotta teach, man. And then that slowly evolved. Student tracking and management. And much, way. I mean, there's no school that required or looked at or appreciated that. It was all a system I developed for the benefit of my students and personal use. And that developed years of developing that and teaching, you know, developing modular lessons. And I teach these great bosses at Fortune 500 companies, P&G, HSBC, Colgate-Palmolive, and these big bosses with lots of experience are telling me, Robert, you're using a lot of different training material. Why don't you create your own, write your own books? And I said, that's a good idea. And in designing my own materials, because I already designed my own lesson plans, I understood the multi-level module development, and I was pretty much doing what a content management system does online, like the educational management system. I was doing that offline. So then I went to all the popular training centers, and I got jobs there, but I didn't just teach. I went in the back and I was studying their file management systems, and the turnover rate was so high for training centers with many foreigners coming, not knowing how to teach, that the good training centers, their challenge was to develop a training system management program. And I did do the directors of study job in Nanning, but in my experience, they just wanted somebody to set the system up, copy it, fire the person. I mean, when you're doing that kind of work, you're pretty much, in my idea, running the school, the backbone of it. And that's why a lot of Chinese schools fail. They run them like McDonald's. They don't have the quality. They don't have, I mean, come on, there's not a lot of people with my level of experience doing this. And because I did my fair share of drinking, but a lot of expats here, they drink and they go back and they party, go on an adventure. I tracked my data. I studied my students. I went on to eventually learn Drupal and a content management system, tried to make an open learning training system, and I tried to distribute tablets until the eventual system, which is right now, which is me creating a self-learning management system and Linux-based customized Linux distribution. And I mean, this was all years and years. So I really fucked up a lot of opportunity, but I studied online courses at the MIT. I watched hours and hours of lectures about open learning, blended learning. When I discovered OpenCourseWare from MIT, and in the absence of doing what I could have done for other companies, I try to do myself, and I'm still doing that right now. I mean, right now when I go in, I mean, even when I teach at this university, the data that I teach each day, I record so much data. Like every part of my lesson plan is scripted. And from those scripts, I can see reusable sections that I modularize, which could be used in future training environments with the same students, requiring less planning, could be distributed to other trainers and teachers, and that kind of system is pretty universal. It doesn't just follow. I mean, I don't see a difference management-wise of teaching kindergarten and teaching university and teaching companies, teaching homeschool. I think there could be a unified platform. And all this shit and research, if I would have done, I could have probably got a doctorate or a master's, or if I would have done this in a school or for a company, I'd be rich. So I didn't just sit by idly after destroying my fucking life. And you know what, if I tell you the truth, because I put so much time and effort into doing this, it's hard for me to give this up. You know, I don't have, you know, I wanted to do a Kickstarter with the center of the net, and I still might do that one day. I don't know. I'm trying to set up a virtual server to do that, and let's get back into that. And I own a couple other domains, but what I'm working on with the self-learning management systems and my kids and the students I teach, I'm still very active in development, and I make enough money to live, but I hate to walk away from what's been 17 years of development and evolution and progress for me. That's really tough, to leave all my work and go to the US and work on an assembly line. You know, I don't, and then the thing is, I want to stop right now and say that, look, that quotation about not being able to change the past and be proud of it, the life that I went on and the experiences that were brought to me from what would have been bad mistakes, they led to wonderful, wonderful alternative timelines, which I destroyed each one. But I don't want to. The people and the friends that I met in my life, I'm so grateful to the knowledge that I've learned and the experiences that I've had have given me the wisdom I have right now. I don't have the monetary wealth or the stability which would have came from any of those jobs that I destroyed. And my future is unclear. Life is strange, man. Now I have the challenge right now to, you know, I actually will make a mind map of of my memory of my last 25 years. And I've got, you know, letters of recommendation. I've got I have to organize different points on this mind map. I can't tell the people at Elon Musk headquarters, the galactic overlords, like, hey, watch my podcast, check it out. Even in this podcast, I'm not telling you like all the things that I've gone through, which I guarantee you, and I don't try to I really don't try to measure myself against anybody, but the sum of my experiences have been much more diverse than many of the people that I've met. So I've got to somehow create a mind map and try to get the key parts of different highlights over the past and put them together into a CV and see if I could get a job as a trainer again. And let me tell you, one of the biggest skills though, I mean, I could go and work in an assembly line now. Any of the jobs that I fucked up in the past, if I had the same job again, I would be more humble and appreciative, and I'm sure successful. I am different and more mature than what I used to be. Funny how time does that, huh? Really kicks your ass. So to that guy on Reddit, you know, I feel I can do more than the assembly line, and I feel that no matter what position I'm put into, my only limitation, I think, is my age and the amount of time. I could be patient. What's up, man? But I don't want to be patient till I'm 47. I want to try to advance quickly but humbly. And I got to try to figure out how to lay out those skills, right? Now, that's the podcast about me. Now here we go into a second transition. You know, Elon Musk, in his last earnings call, said that he's not looking for day traders. And all the time, the press is all over Elon Musk. Negative, negative, negative. How many times have you heard it said that Elon Musk is an immigrant to the US and he single-handedly created a company worth more value than GM? He single-handedly created a rocket company that's more potential and cheaper to beat the biggest military contractors, Boeing, Lockheed Martin, PayPal, Tesla. I mean, his achievements and his advancements, to hear the media talk about him and to hear this hatred of Elon, I mean, hatred of immigrants. Nobody mentions the fact that he's from South Africa, and it's just amazing. So why he's bored and feeling stressed out and overworked, and everybody's jumping on him, it's kind of a surreal moment. I mean, you might look back and I think this time is really reflective of like when Galileo made his discoveries and the church persecuted him, or these great Renaissance achievers made great scientific discovery, and we look back and we see their persecution and we say, oh my God, how was that generation so stupid? I believe that the same thing is repeating now. Our current generation does not realize what Elon Musk is doing right now. I mean, his achievements in every way, and even as an immigrant, are on par with everybody else, you know, with all the Renaissance greats, and there's no recognition. So and as somebody today, I mean, I just left the lab of teaching these kids whose parents are in the lab for brainwave interfaces for AI. They developed they're trying to develop a interface to recognize characters from brainwaves. And I had a discussion about the Chinese factories that have 40,000 workers having their brainwaves monitored. And I said, hey, is that part research from your department? And my friend and my student's parents said, no. She said they're working on like understanding letters, and I said, well, isn't that done with eye movement? And she said, yes, but for when the eyes can't be used. And I said, well, how can you be doing your research? Surely the brainwave patterns, you know, if you're doing alphanumeric, like with romantic letters and numbers, since Chinese people learn Chinese characters, I'm sure their brainwave patterns on a secondary language must be different than the brainwave patterns on the primary language. And she says that that's a good point, and it might be, it needs to be studied. And I really enjoyed talking to her about the dynamics of, I said, well, surely every person's brainwaves must be different when recognizing characters. So your process must be to study and to learn the basic character recognition per person. And she says that there's shared similarities. And I said, I guess it can't be more than 20 or 30 tied 30%. And she said they use algorithms to match you share learn. And I'm not getting into a conversation about this. Is really fascinating, I think. And they talk about, you know, so many parents don't want me to leave, and they ask me, don't I want to stay and teach in their university? And I said, well, I'd like to. If I'm staying, I mean, all my data is for English teaching, all my curriculum materials. If I have to teach computer science, it's probably not as great of a, I have to prepare a fresh curriculum. It's a lot of work to create 40 to 50 hours of curriculum material. It's one thing when you have a well-stocked database that created out of for years, and I have the management system, and I have the tracking system. But if I was going to teach computer science, I have two ways to do it. I could either sit down and prepare the entire course materials before the course begins, which is a huge amount of work, or I could do it the fresh teacher way and prepare on a week-by-week basis, which is also a huge amount of work, you know, much more the work than it is right now. You know, a lot of my work I wanted to be efficient, so because I'm efficient, I've spent hundreds of hours of creating this management system and putting my data together, my lesson plans. But now, today, when I go to teach, sure, I have to assemble the plan and the outlines, but it's much easier to do. Everything is in the templates that I've created. If I have to, and I do teach, I do have computer science curriculum for my son, for Bobby, and for Qaletaqa, and I have planned for their homeschool future, which I'm sure I could use in the university classroom. But to create an entire curriculum, if I'm staying in China, while that would be beneficial to the students, and I would make a name for myself, and this school, which is a top school in China, would want me to continue to work for them, it would be bad for my family, because it's very hard to set lesson plans to train my wife, and my wife represents a class of user in the training system, like using it back office, that, I mean, I don't just see my wife, I see my wife as representing an entire generation of illiterate. Her psychological profile as she uses the training system, I see similarities between her and different parents, and I see the way that the interactions are between the way she uses the system and interacts with it, and I like to watch that and study, and I like to tweak it and make it better, and this kind of research and development, if I'm into planning for the university classes, it cuts into my time. So, and the financial reward is, I mean, I like computers and IT, and it's cool, artificial intelligence, but it's not for Elon Musk's company. If I stayed here, I might be able to meet some people in that field and make intelligent discoveries, run into people, like-minded frame sets, and have unpredictable outcomes that might happen. Or I might get older and have it take time from my kids and my wife. So, you know, the adverse is if I go back to the US, which I need to do. And why do I need to do that? Like, I told her tonight, I said, look, China's future is uncertain. There's so many. Number one, the real estate market. Number two, there's a large amount of companies that are going bankrupt and lying about their profit. Banks, I'm sure, are not getting their loans repaid. Cities are lying about their growth to get more money and funding from the central government. So this artificial stimulation to project that their city is growing, and then you go around and you see all these empty houses, like on the front left and front right, and what we just passed, and you see this replicated everywhere in China. And if you add that with the fact that the university school system is designed to produce non-innovative, non-creative, cheap labor at a time when students need to be learning creativity and innovative skills more than ever before, when automation is around the corner and so many people are going to lose their jobs. I'm scared that this is going to be very volatile in China in the next 5 to 10 years. And if this volatile situation comes, you know, look at, I'm struggling to buy a bike hub. And if I don't got the same nationality as my wife, you know, that's not a good thing. My wife needs me. My kids need me. So I need Elon, and the thing is in the U.S. It's not a good situation in the U.S. either. I mean, as we enter this third industrial revolution, we see a huge problem being replicated all over the earth. Not just China and U.S. And in renewable energy, and the most innovative company I could think of to have a secure position is Solar City, probably being number one. SpaceX, number one if I could be lucky enough to get the job. And Tesla. Tesla's cars have almost destroyed the luxury car segment. Everyone except for the Mercedes Model C. And there's nobody that's going to dethrone Tesla. So it's a safe job. But Elon Musk is doing so many things that if you could understand that, I just don't know any other company. It's like, I really don't. And yeah, I think I did a good job right then. Oh, I'm so high. My bags are so full right now. Yeah, I just don't know any other company that does that same thing. Where would you work? Look around you right now. The service industry. You mainstream news talking about students should maybe not choose a four-year college. You see teachers on strike, not getting paid enough. Classrooms not have enough budget. You know what? I think during the whole student strike, teacher strike discussion in the US, nobody mentioned that it's the educational system model which is dying. Privatization, and we're trying to, I mean, we used to mark textbooks up to huge amounts of profit, have schools design the infrastructure of brick and mortar. Come on, we could understand the destruction of brick and mortar retail shopping in the malls, but we cannot use that same logic to understand that brick and mortar schools do not make sense. I mean, are the people, are the teachers protesting for money? Is this the same as if all the strip malls of the 1990s and 80s that went out of business because of Amazon, or Taobao here in China, if they go out and protest, people would be laughing. They say, hey man, time's changing. It seems like nobody's connecting the dots. Between the situation. And honestly, placing 30 students in a room and cutting them off from technology when they have the opportunity to have a full amount of resources at their fingertips. You know, I teach my son homeschool like Bobby. I teach him, above all else, research. Read. Research. Can you imagine when he goes to a public school system, they only get one book, no computers at their desk, no, I mean, I don't understand. You know, and I don't understand that for any kid. Just like you don't understand, why would you go shopping in a mall when you could buy it from the richest man in the world who understands online shopping, Jeff Bezos, and Amazon? So, yeah, I have this, I have this humble clarity. I've been on both sides of the digital divide and I've been studying it. Do I have the same confidence in my ability when I was young and reckless and thought I knew it all and wanted to take on the world? I thought I was on Do I still feel like that? Yeah, I do. However, I've experienced how to be humble and how to understand silently and how to be around people that don't understand. I mean, I'm in China, man, and realistically, in 17 years, I did meet some person that worked for the prison system that had a database, and he wanted me to sign a letter of confidentiality, and he was trying to make a content management system. Well, you know what this guy was doing is, he was from the prison system in the US. He had no on-the-ground experience here in China. He had his scope of understanding at this level was not what it needed to be a complete success on his own. Now, I've met people in this time here. I worked for another guy. I met a couple people that have great project management skills and really organized and really wow, they're able to reach your objectives and all these kinds of skills. No, I did not have those, and I didn't even understand the value of project management, and that's a tough. I mean, it seems like everything I'm doing for myself is a miniature scale module of projects management, and I really struggle on what path to take as I just run out of time and I'm left holding the shit from the wake of destruction of my idealistic youth. Yeah, and I'm not even talking about my photography career. Oh man. So anyways, guys, are you still watching this? This is the most boring podcast ever, huh? It's okay. I've got hundreds of boring videos, right? So my current duty is I've lost 7 kilos. I'm like 77 kilos, I think. I was 85 or whatever. 78 kilos. I got to keep losing weight. Riding non-stop. My front tire is out of true a little bit, and I'm nowhere near the only person or two I know that could possibly true tires. I don't want to really trust the neighborhood guy to do it, so I'm gonna ride with it out of true a little bit. It's a skill that I don't have, and I feel as though if I start messing with my tires, I'm gonna mess them up. I think my hubs are okay. Somebody mentioned I should throw my hubs away, change the tires. Nah, they're not that bad. They got some life in them. I don't know how many thousands of miles you could use bearings in a wheel I was thinking of just changing them, but those whole bearings are expensive, and I don't know if I get real ones or fake ones or what, you know. You know, the other night when it was raining, there was a flood right here yesterday. It's gonna rain the next week. Somehow water got into one of my bags, and I don't know how. And I can't figure out, because even yesterday you saw me picking up my bike. In the past, I wouldn't pick up my bike just because I was confident that unless the water went over the top of my bag, that they were that fucking waterproof. But the first video I made in the rain, I got home and there was like a couple cups of water in the bottom of my bag that had my brand new IBM 1987 SSK keyboard in there, and it got on my keyboard and actually ruined it a little bit. My keyboard, like the J I was so devastated. Oh my God, I tried so hard to find this keyboard, and the very first day since 1987, 31 years later, I have it one fucking day, and my normally waterproof bags that I have so much faith in, that I read in the rain before, they somehow let water destroy my keyboard. I was so personally destroyed. So I even put my stuff in bags right now. And I mean, in my old Deuter bags, I use plastic bags inside, but these bags, I was fully confident in. So yesterday I was scared, but I got home yesterday and they were completely dry. So I'm not sure how water got in my bag, but luckily my keyboard works again. Now the same cannot be said from my Unicomp Model M. It's not working, but my portable SSK keyboard that fits in my bike bag and my backpack, 60% key. Oh my God, I love this keyboard so much. It's a product that I'm so happy with. 30 years old. I'm happy it works again. You know, there's been times in the past where I used to ride down this road over there, and there's been times, maybe you've been on the rides with me, look at my own videos, right? Be just tired as hell. That was back when I was doing 80, 90, 100 kilometer days. And I'd have barbecue and I'd get drunk, and at one time I went back to go look for my wallet, even though my wallet was at home. And I rode back with I rode home so hard, tired, I fell off my bike trying to fight to get back home. So excited. You ever ride in your sleep and fall off your bike? So I gotta take this phone call. Hello? I'm almost there. I'll be home in about 5 minutes. Okay? Alright, see you later, honey. So, yeah, it's not a good thing, but it was this bike here. I was looking at bike lock information. I'm really scared to go to the US and somebody's gonna... I gotta take a phone call. Hello? What's up? Hello? You know, I love I love these headsets. It's so easy to talk, huh? I push a button on the cheek induction. I gotta do a review. Now they don't work in heavy traffic. Like right now there's no cars on the road. But in heavy traffic, if you're listening to a low bitrate podcast, it's a struggle to hear over the traffic and background noise. I've got good news. I found out the consulate staff is going to visit my home and come and see me. Let me show you some, guys. Let me show you some here. This is typical in China lately. Now I don't know what this is here, but if you look on the ground here, is this still on? These are all prostitutes and carts for girls on the ground. All over. And this is kind of a new phenomenon in China the last couple of years. And you know, if you go to the park, and there used to be a lot of prostitutes and stuff, but it's kind of funny. I asked myself, I mean, I think it must be the police that are trapping people. I mean, who would pick up a card and call a girl that, I mean, hey, it's me, hi, yeah, I like to have one of these girls on the cards here from this Japanese porn movie star, and they're all over the sidewalks. And if you're doing that job, I mean, wouldn't that just be like, hey, you're gonna set yourself up for the police or something? So I don't know. I mean, I don't even care about prostitutes. However, I just have to think, who? And there's so different ways to get bitches in China, but that way, who's gonna be the idiot to pick those cards up? Or who's gonna be the idiot to put the cards there? The smartest person I know to put those cards there would be the police, right? I don't know. Just a little trivia fact on the way home, right? This street is always ravished by floods. You know, the worst part about it is the flood's got sewage in it and stuff, you know? So you really want to wash that off as soon as you get home. And this is what it's like when there's not a river in the middle of the street, right? Cars. I've seen so many cars try to fight the rivers with the floods, and they don't make it. Like this morning I went to work, there was abandoned cars on the street everywhere. Oh no. Oh man. How does that happen? Accident. Well, I guess I'm probably gonna run out of battery soon. I'm gonna get a Ling Do on the way home, I think. The consulate officer is gonna come visit my house on Tuesday. I'm so excited to welcome in me and my family. Gonna go get Huang some clothes tomorrow. Gotta get her clothes that don't break for the rest of her life. Just never know when I can buy clothes again. So I think I mentioned this clothing strategy earlier. I'm gonna try to buy her durable camping clothes, you know. She could get pretty girl clothes later on, you know. Yeah. Alright guys, I'm gonna stop talking because I imagine the camera's gonna be off right now, so I'll catch you guys later on. Thanks for riding with me. I'm humble now. I'm ready for the next opportunity. I promise I won't mess it up. Eh, lama. Ah, the trees. Ah, destruction. That's too bad. I want to get Lingdu, I guess. I know I shouldn't, but it's kind of my special treat. There's my bike. I doubt the camera's still on, but if you guys are still there, it's crazy. Go home. Movie's over. Okay, calm down, boy. Calm down. Oh, hey. Okay. Hi. How you doing, boy? Huh? Oh, I can't pick you up right now, guy. Hey. Okay, later. Okay, come on. Calm down. Bye. All you guys are still here. Thanks for riding with me. Ride safe, be safe, and I'll catch you later on. Subscribe and stuff. Bye-bye.